Welcome! We are going to make pancakes. Pancakes are some of the quickest quick breads you can make. And this recipe is useful for many gluten-free whole grains. I have used it for sorghum and millet and teff. Those all work wonderfully. I've also used some other grains that didn't work so well, and I'm going to put that information on the recipe link. Today we're going to use buckwheat. Buckwheat has wonderful natural health benefits in that it helps to control blood sugar, it helps to reduce your risk of heart disease with lower cholesterol and lower blood pressure, and it's very filling, it's very satisfying. It'll keep you full for many hours. So what is buckwheat? This is the seed. Buckwheat isn't a true grain. These are triangular seeds, and they take this whole seed and grind it into the flour. But this seed is also useful all on its own. You can toast it and cook it and make it into a pilaf with mushrooms and onions, and it makes a great side dish in the winter or the fall. You can also cook it so that it's kind of like a hot cereal in the morning. It's a nice thing to have on hand. It's certainly something you want to eat more of. But when you're getting the flour, I want to talk a little bit about how it's manufactured. Buckwheat is naturally gluten-free. But if you mill it in an area with wheat, you want to make sure that there isn't cross-contamination. And here, this is a package of Bob's Red Mill buckwheat flour. Nowhere on here does it say that it's gluten-free. They are not assuring that this is gluten-free. They do not run this in their gluten-free facility. They have two facilities. One is dedicated gluten-free, the other is not. This is not run in the dedicated facility. They're not testing at the end of the batches to make sure that there isn't cross-contamination. Arrowhead Mills on here says gluten-free. And they also don't have, this is not run on a dedicated gluten-free facility, but they do test when they're done to make sure that there hasn't been cross-contamination. So this is what you want instead of this, but then also be aware that when companies run on dedicated facilities or test or both, that all increases the cost of manufacture and the cost of the product. So when you are deciding what product to use, it's a judgment call that you make yourself on cost and if it's certified gluten-free or not, and availability. Some things are hard to get a hold of, so take all those things into consideration. Also, don't be afraid to call a company to see what their practices are. That's the best way to know and the best way to feel confident in the product that you're using. Okay, so in these pancakes we have the flour, and this is a salt and pepper looking kind of flour. It's a dark flour, different than what you're used to, but that is how buckwheat flour looks. We have a little bit of sugar, a little bit of soda, and a little bit of salt. Those are the dry ingredients, and then the liquid ingredients are buttermilk, egg, and oil. So we're ready to get started. Hi, here we are with the tools. We need a mixing bowl for our dry ingredients, a mixing bowl for our wet ingredients. We need measuring cups for dry ingredients, measuring cup for liquid ingredients, measuring spoons. Here's our handy brush again. We're going to brush oil on our cast iron griddle, which is a wonderful way to get some more iron into your body and into your diet. Use cast iron cookware. We have a whisk for mixing things up. We have a silicone scraper for mixing things up and scraping down the bowl. And we have a spatula for our pancake turner. So here we go, fully equipped, and we'll get started. Okay, here we are with our dry ingredients. This is as easy as making a mix, and it's a lot healthier for you. We have our buckwheat flour. We have a little sugar, a little baking soda, and a little salt. Alright, whisk this up, and we're ready for the wet ingredients. Okay, that was really quick. Now we're on to the liquid ingredients, and that would be the buttermilk, and I'm going to give it a good shake. Measure it in my wet ingredient measure and get down here where I can see what I'm doing. Perfect. The buttermilk goes in the bowl. The oil goes in the bowl. And the egg is going to go in the bowl. And that time I didn't get it on my fingers. So we just whisk it up until it's well blended. Alright, that's easy. Okay, the liquid goes into the dry. And I use this to scrape the bowl pretty clean as I can. And then I'm going to whisk this up until it's thoroughly combined. And here again, we don't need to worry about making this batter tough. A lot of times when you're making pancakes, they'll say just stir it and leave lumps in it. We have no gluten in here to make it tough, so it doesn't matter. We also don't need to have any xanthan in here because this is just going to raise up a little bit and you're going to have nice crusty edges on both sides. No need for xanthan in these. You will see this is kind of a gray color. This is the way it's supposed to be. And it thickens as it sits too. So expect that. Okay, we're about ready to cook. My griddle is on number 3 on my stove. We go from low to high, and that's from 2 to 9, so it's fairly low still. I'm going to put some oil on and brush it around. It's like I'm painting. Alright, and then I'm going to take my batter and pour it. I think it's, I hope we're hot enough. I'm not hearing a sizzle, so that's not good. And often when you're doing your first pancake, it's a test to see how hot your griddle is. I'm going to give it a minute. Okay, we're starting to get some bubbling coming up on this one. And the oil is shimmering a little bit here, so I'm going to pour out the next pancake. And I kind of want to smooth it around so it's not so thick in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to cook these on the one side, let the bubbles come up and pop a little bit and get a little bit set on the top. And then I'm going to cook them on the other side. Then I'm going to put them into the oven. I have the oven set at 150 degrees, and I'll put them on a plate and then put them in the oven so that they'll stay warm while I finish cooking the rest, and then we can sit down and have our pancakes together. Perfect. And see, they turn brown. They get brown. They don't stay gray. Okay, this one's done. It's going into the oven. And we pour out another one. And you don't have to oil it every time either. Okay, that's what you do. We now have pancakes for 2 people, and we're going to have them for dinner. I hope you love these. Doesn't this look delicious? These are whole grain, well, sort of whole grain. They're whole seed, buckwheat flour, pancakes. This is raspberry sauce. This is just simply pureed raspberries, a little whipped cream, a little almonds. This is really a treat. I hope you love it.